Hi everyone, how are you? You thought we had forgotten you, but we didn't. We are right here. I am sorry about this video. It's not gonna show the best. If you saw our video set up here, you would laugh. It's kind of crazy. But we're gonna do our best to try and get it done and move on because it is February and I haven't forgotten that I owe you a video. This video, I felt that it had to be in English. And I changed the dynamic. I promised to do a video for you on the roles of the realtors, you know, what different things realtors do for you. But I'm getting some clients and I'm getting a lot of questions and listings and sales. We have around 3 to 4 people we're working with right now. A lot of questions on selling. So I'm gonna try and get through the sales listing presentation because life happens, everything happens, and it's tough to meet with people face to face. So I'm gonna try to explain everything, but not without telling you some words of spirit. I feel that if I don't do that, I'm not doing my job, and it's not related to real estate, but here it is. I have 2 realizations of from spirit today, and when I mean spirit, I don't mean religions. You know, I consider myself a person of faith, but I don't think the religion is what's important. I think that the higher self or moving towards the higher being should be a goal for all of us. If we try and connect ourselves a little more, this world will be a little less chaotic. Anyway, the spirit says one very important thing, which is when things don't work out, when a deal is not happening, when you're unable to purchase that car or something ended, don't hang on to it. You know, move on. Try to detach yourself from that situation. Try situations of toxicity. I tell my friends I'm perfect giving advice, not following my own, of course. But sometimes it's best if you just relax, close your eyes, and let the universe do the magic. You don't have to chase for a person. You don't have to continue working towards the same job if you're not challenged anymore. You don't have to live in the same place if you don't like it anymore. On the other hand, if buying things makes you happier, or you know, getting together with your family makes you happier, do that. Do what makes you happy. And sometimes it's about finding the right people, being with the right people, and other times is allowing those people to work on themselves, improve themselves before getting in contact with them, because you know that in some situations they can be hurtful to you if they're not in connection with their own selves. So having said that, I'm going to go to the second spirit advice of the day, which is about the materials. You know, I am here trying to help you buy something that's material, something that is not, you know, you don't have to have a house to be happy, but sometimes homes makes us happier. The point that I'm trying to make is I am not trying to sell you something based on its material purpose. I'm trying to hopefully sell you something that will fill a larger purpose in your life. You know, sometimes for some people it's getting a bigger home, being with other family members, having a better school district. But for other people, for other, you know, persons is maybe downgrading, maybe moving to a mobile home, maybe moving to a townhome from a larger home. For some of us enjoy doing the yard, enjoy gathering, you know, entertaining people. Others, we just enjoy being alone. And you should try and find that product that's gonna fit your lifestyle, whether or not that's urban, whether or not that's rural. And it's hard. I know it's hard, and for sometimes you have to hang out hang to your homes for a while until you find that product. But keep searching, keep looking, do what makes you happy. I hope I'm looking right at the camera because I don't know how this device is working. Okay, moving on to real estate at this point, to the sales presentation. A lot of it is a lot of feeling, right? I have my presentation right here in front of me, and a lot of these tips were learned by some of the best people in real estate, so I'm gonna try and cover it. A lot of you don't know, and I feel that I have to keep repeating myself, but know that we have experience. We haven't been in the residential business for too long. We have been 2 years, about 2 years going. We just did the classes for the license renewal, so we're but after we sign all those representation documents, we're going to put a sign in your property. This is obviously, if you don't want the sign, we're not going to put it in. But if we don't have a sign, then how will people find out that you're selling your property? This is, now the companies are going with the standard wooden signs, which are pretty nice, and they're actually pretty big to let other people know that's you're selling your property. After we place the sign up, we're going to gather all the information to upload your home and its characteristics into the listing service. Sometimes we ask for input from the client, sometimes we don't. But if you feel that your home has a special features, let us know right away so that that goes up on the website. And it should be a feature that's important, right? It's not, you can't list things like pet friendly home, but on the other hand you could say things like large kitchen, perfect for entertainment, or friendly neighborhood, something like that. We were laughing because in class we were saying like people are listing things that sell ready, priced to sell, where all of our homes should be priced to sell, so it's kind of redundant, right? After we take all the characteristics of your property, we're going to go ahead and take the photographs. They should be professional photographs. They could be from a professional photography company. Sometimes some of the brokerages sell the packets. In Colwell, we have something that's called listing concierge, which is a packet of gold, silver, platinum, which is, you know, gold. All of them get you photos, of course, but for example, the platinum would even get you a commercial on TV and YouTube and videos, and the gold would get you a little less, right? They will all get you literature for the home, things like that. They all come from a professional printing service, so they're very, very nice, and it's working for a lot of the agents. A lot of these packets are worth $300, $400, so we don't really use them in some of the listings like rentals or smaller homes. But if the home is worth $400,000 or $500,000, it's definitely worth ordering that packet for your home. We will still inspect the property again, be sure that we have all the characteristics of it, and we will start doing our showings with people, with other agents, start getting the home shown as soon as possible. Again, we don't do this until after the home is up on the internet, until the home is up in the market. We have very strict rules now, basically, which is the minute we met with you for the listing, the home should be uploaded within 3 days, which brings a lot of problems for us logistically to try work with other things, especially when you're also trying to sell your house to buy a house. But that is the rule. It has to be uploaded within 48 hours. We have to follow up on the showings. Maybe it doesn't mean that we will directly be there at every showing. Then again, it all depends on the home. If this is a large size home, $700,000 home, for example, we have to be there. But following up also means talking to that other buying agent, calling that buying agent and asking, what do you think? Do you guys like the property? Are you interested? Do you have financing? We want to know all those things because we want to know right away if this is a potential buyer, or if none of the showings are a waste of time, but some of the buyers are not ready to buy and we need to move on to other buyers. That is what's following up. And following up is very important because at the same time, you want to be negotiating with your property. You want to be seen as a stronger property in the market. Your property is the best property to everyone's eyes. Doesn't matter what people think or what people say. And this is part of your negotiation process when you're negotiating with other people that are looking at your properties. When we talk about representation, there are several factors that come with it. If I say that I will be your agent for a transaction, I have to act in a standard that will only benefit your interest, or for the most part, it'll get you to acquire or sell that home at your happiest place, and it will take care of your interest. Part of that is the AAA, what we call the AAA. You know, realtors have to provide the minimum services. Those minimum services are accept, assist, advise. Accept, assist, advise. We have to accept the offers that come to you or for you and transmit it to you, the seller, right away. You know, maybe we have to confirm in writing to that other agent that we received their offer. We have to assist you in any of the questions you have, or if you have a question related to your offer. And we have to advise you without changing your own decisions. You know, you, the client, makes the decision, but we have you, this is how people would act, but you can make your own decision. Or this is the range of pricing, you pick a price. That's the advice portion. Or this offer has these benefits, but it also has these disadvantages. When we represent people, there's something called dual agency. When we agents become dual agents, it means that we can represent both buyer and seller in the same transaction. There's a lot of, if you're very ethically oriented, there's many reasons why this would work for you. But it's also very risky and very touchy because you're not supposed to be sharing confidential information to one client or the other. If you represent both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction, you cannot discuss with either one things like price, motivation, or thoughts, even certain thoughts, because by saying some things to your buyer from your seller, you might be affecting the interest of the seller. Or by saying some things to the seller from the buyer, you may be affecting the interest of the buyer. So it's always better, or better played, if you will, to have that other agent help you in a transaction and represent that other party. Again, it doesn't mean some people cannot do it. A lot of agents do it. A lot of them do this as the majority part of the business because it's more profitable, of course. But some of us cannot do it. And if you cannot do it, you're better off transferring that service to some other agent. We always work with agents, and we shouldn't be like, oh, she's gonna take my business or he's gonna take my business. No, we need agents a lot for showings, for referrals, to work with them, etc. So we try to be open to others. When you sign these representations agreements, it's obviously in writing. It obviously says who represents the buyer, etc. I cannot go and represent both my buyer and my seller without letting them know, hey, Araceli, I got Maria interested in buying your property. I may be thinking of representing her. What do you think? Or maybe say, hi Araceli, Maria was interested in buying your property and I'm also representing her. Here's her offer. You know, notify them in advance. You cannot discuss, again, prices, confidential information that the buyer doesn't want to share or the seller doesn't want to share, like relationship details and so on, affect sometimes if you say, oh, so-and-so is looking for a job, it might already affect the interest in that sale or buy. When we talk about homes, always remember location, location, location. If there's a nice road by your house, if especially in residential areas, if there isn't a lot of traffic, if the schools are good, if you like your neighbors, that's a good location for you. For other, especially for commercials areas, they want to be in high traffic, high demand, completely different animal. A lot of people then again say, I don't want to pay a lot of taxes, and I always have to remind them, look, your taxes are related to your schools. Your schools very much relate to your services. So in that area where you might be paying a little higher taxes, you may get better parks, better schools, better services. We get lucky sometimes in areas that don't cost a lot and have really good services, but those are very random or very few. I think that of the Round Lake area, by the way, is not, the schools are somewhat improving. It's usually judged, as a poor area, but I feel that the people in Round Lake have made it improve to so much better standards. But the people in the area have really changed it, really improved the stores, There's so much traffic when I go to Round Lake, and that's because people are moving, people are buying, people are participating. Also, a home, different factors will affect it, like zoning, economy of the area, the people that we just talked about, gentrification, that's for a lot of places in the city. So you have to keep all those things in mind. When we talk about evaluating a home, we can use 3 different forms. One of them is by comparable sales, which is what I explained. You have to have 3 different properties in the same block or the same subdivision to come up with a price. In the recession and the times that the market wasn't moving at all, it was really hard for us all to even come up with a price, because we had all these different short sales, but properties not selling by their value, but by other things like bankruptcies, short sales. Those are not indication of a good market, and they're indication of value for those times, but we know that eventually that market price will change. So we have to get updated on the prices. We cannot use those prices from the recession these days, right? We cannot expect. A lot of people call me and I'm like, well, I want a home that is 70,000 or 60,000. I'm like, well, those were prices of the recession. We don't really have those prices anymore. When we're headed to a healthy market, the properties will cost more money to you. At the same time, it's a benefit if you want to sell your property, because it will be more profit from that sale. When we list a property, we have to be mindful of what the FHA requirements are. FHA puts a lot of restrictions in some properties, but it also allows us to find other buyers. Government, more government subsidized buyers, or more people looking for affordable housing. When we look at FHA requirements, I will give you a list of properties that you have to have in your house, like a secure handrails, good exit doors, no cracked windows, no defective paint, no tripping hazards, no trash in the crawl space, good driveways, no fried wires or old wiring of the electrical. So if you're not willing to make the updates or the repairs, then just don't list your house as FHA qualified. Leaky roofs, asbestos, obviously, environmental issues. We cannot have any of that for FHA. Again, doesn't mean you can do that for other sales and sell your home as is if you don't want to make the repairs, but not for FHA qualified. When we go and tell you that we're going to go sell your property, most professional agents will give you a marketing plan. So they'll give you a schedule of events of what will happen to the property, or they'll tell you, I'm gonna take the photos first, then I'm gonna do the listing, then I'm gonna do emails, then I'm gonna do mailers, then I'm gonna do open houses. And they have to give you a progress every week of what's going on with the property, or hold as many open houses as you can, etc. They will prepare the characteristics of your home and summary for it to be better advertising for the market and for other brokers. They have to confirm to their company that the home is available now for sale, and for it to give it more visibility. They will be placing the for sale sign. Usually this is done immediately. They will have the home professionally photographed. We already talked about that. Listed on the MLS, on the multiple service listing. What does it mean? A lot of people, this is related to for sale by owners, where people say, oh, I don't have to pay that large commission, I can sell the home on my own. Or the fees or whatever. It makes a difference when you're having someone working for your property instead of yourself, because you have to come to the showings, you have to negotiate, and people or clients are not, unless you've been in the business, you're not the best negotiators for yourself. So let a professional do it, pay the price. It's how it works, it's how the market works. If you go with systems like I'm not gonna mention, but the Z system or the R system, right? RE.com, etc. I'm not gonna mention it, but those services, they will charge you a lower commission because they will give you lower services. And I've come across those companies in which the agent is very unresponsive. So that's what you're paying for. If you're saving on commissions, you will also get the worst service. When we list a home, we notify the neighbors, because a lot of the times the neighbors want to buy, or they have some family member interested in buying close to them. And you have to maintain a visible advertising program, which is something that, every week you guys have seen me in open houses. Like, we advertise them every other week. We do the open house, we do the media having to do with the event or related to the open house. We have to keep in touch with the client. Some of my clients call me night and day, and we have to be open at the time that it works for them, work diligently for you. When you're trying to sell a home, it's the best to clean your home. I don't suggest that people do anything that causes them stress, but you will sell your home faster if you clean, do the best, wax your floors, blinds, the dust that gets in between the blinds. Everything I don't do in my house, you're supposed to do in yours. This always reminds me to my friend Felipe, because he's got the spotless house. Every time I go, I try to pass my fingers through something to see if it's clean, and if there's a little bit sign, a little bit of dust. Nothing. Felipe is the most cleanest person in the world. Unfortunately, he thinks everyone should be the same, which we're not. But the house is really spotless. Kitchens and bathrooms. These are the areas that give the most value to the house. So if you're thinking of a renovation, start it in the kitchen or start it in the bathroom. Rooms are not going to provide the highest value. Basements, they might, but they're not going to provide the highest value. It's always in your kitchens or bathrooms. Be sure that things are, while in the moving process, you may want to move everything to the garage if that makes things easier for you, or start decluttering and put items in the garage. But try to not show the rooms as cluttered, especially storage areas, because that is not appealing for buyers. Repairs, identify cracks, identify holes, anything that you can make better in your house. Closets, remove clothes that you don't use. Come on, let's be honest, we don't use those clothes for a year, and they don't have to be their furniture. The less furniture, the better when you're moving or you're trying to sell. Again, if we do all these steps very methodically, you will get a good buyer. And usually, most of us try to hit that goal of the 45 days. The reality is that a lot of us are selling those homes 2 months or 3 months after, but the homes are selling. And if it's already been the third or fourth month, possibly more towards the fourth or fifth month, I would start worrying because there's something going on in the process, or I would really change my dynamic from selling to renting if my home just won't sell, or try to look into iBuy programs. That's a faster sale. Once you have a contract, once you get that buyer willing, able to buy your property, we have to discuss the offer that they presented. Some of those offers come with good financing. Some of them come with not very good financing, and we have to discuss them with you. Some of them come with contingencies, which is, I'm not going to be able to buy your home unless I sell mine. So there are some of those buyers out there, and that's a contingency that affects sellers. So we also have to talk about them with you. They will have dates specific in that contract. They will have a specific request, and they would maybe want a specific appliances and a specific items. It is possible that an agent buys your home and they have to disclose that they're buying your home. All of that comes in a contract that we have to carefully review with you when that is received, if you're unable to understand it. We have to promptly present that contract to you as soon as we receive it. When we buy real estate out there, if we don't buy it with any kind of written form, with any kind of agreement, if we don't buy real estate with a contract and a survey and a plan, a plot, we're not really buying good real estate. And you would think these are basics, that I shouldn't be telling you this, but believe me, in Mexico in particular, try to find your plots, try to find your contracts, try to find your surveys for every piece of property that you own. Otherwise, you do not own good real estate. Negotiate on your behalf. If you, the seller, do not want to accept that contingency, and if you, the seller, do not want to stay longer in the property, or if you don't want to give up your washer and your dryer, talk to the buyer, negotiate that on behalf of the seller. There's all kinds of things and situations. At the farm, for example, we've had situations where people, sellers say, make it part of the contract that I want to pull out bricks from the property, or something that's very memory related, something that reminds them of people that live there and their past. And we're very open to those requests a lot of the time. Hey, I have to prepare, as a good agent, I have to prepare all the documents that I might be responsible for. Some people think we can make instant offers. It's really not the best. I mean, we can make a decision right when we look at the property, but we have to spend our time trying to get the best and most accurate offer available. Cooperate with the attorneys, accountants. Like I say, we realtors do not know everything, so we have to listen to our lawyers, our accountants. The better realtors are like these with their lawyers. They bug them about questions, they answer back. The better lawyers answer those questions right away. And so long as that agent is bringing them their business, they're usually very open to talk to them, or the client. If they're not talking to you as a client, they'll probably talk to the realtor, and the realtor can explain things to you, so long as that you agree. Sometimes we even talk to the schools if that's needed for your purchase or your sale. We help you secure the financing that you need to buy your second home, or in the process of selling. There's a lot of financing related questions. We follow up and ensure that that we understand the terms, the contingencies, that we understand the contracts, and that we're meeting the deadlines in those contracts or those contingencies, like coming up with a survey, or have we tried to get the financing secured? Did the buyer provide proof of financing? When are we moving to closing? When is the final walkthrough gonna be? After that, then most of my attorneys that I work with are fully bilingual, so they will explain the entire documentation and process to the client. And but if that's not the case, we're usually there to explain the documentation to the client. retain the record of the contract. Now, we used to, I think now most of us are keeping it 7 years. We're not really supposed to keep any confidential information or any information that may be stolen for identity purposes. When you're trying to hire a realtor, you may, some of the times you might exchange documents in between them and the lender. It's usually more advisable for you to go direct to the lender. But when in doubt, always ask your realtor and your lender what kind of systems they're using to secure their files. I think it's best advice if we realtors back up our computer files every day, but all very lucky and thankful that I do pay for Apple and they do have a good encrypting service. So the minute that I lose a device or whatever, I can just click on a button and delete my device even when I don't find it. Now, more and more, I'm becoming more mindful of trackers and locators to my devices, just in case I lose them. And that's pretty much it. We will review the contracts. We will, once you go to closing, not so much for sales but for buys, and it's usually recommended that you keep the documentation from your sales as well in a binder, in a closing binder, which will have every document particular to that sale. Use, because of record keeping, we usually try to keep a digital copy of that as well. Again, we may have this in our office for 5 or 7 years, not more. Whenever you need a referral of call us. We're supposed to have it in our records. Inspectors, lawyers, accountants, and we will always try to give you the different options per client. You know, some clients prefer some inspectors, some others already know they're inspectors, so they will work with them, and it's fine. We the realtors cannot tell you use that lawyer, use that inspector, not push contractors for you. We always have to advise you get two or three different estimates. You know, anytime you're making a repair or renovation, it's most advisable that you hire people that are insured and that you get at least 3 different estimates. You know, sometimes insurance, to me, it's not the most important when I trust the builder or the person, but I still want to check prices with them. And insurance might be important in the case of a company, or if you're running your business out of your home, then you would probably want that person to be insured just in case. That's it for today. Remember what I said about the spirit. If something isn't working, let it go, let it flow, and trust me, sooner or later, if you really want that, it'll come back to you. And if it doesn't come back, it wasn't meant to be. And just live a healthy lifestyle. Love you all. Kisses. Let go of the things that are in the past that don't have a purpose in your future. And if the universe is sending you a change, whether this is a job, a home, a person, take it, run with it, be happy. It is what it's meant to be. Love you all. Besos.